What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Microtopia. Um, the last episode was our first episode, our reawakening to Microtopia, and I think we've set ourselves up fairly well in the beginning. We have plenty of food for our queen. We have plenty of space to always be hatching a small worker ant. Speaking of, you can see here in our main colony loop that we have plenty of workers and small workers to do what we need. Let's unpause this really quick because we should start building and stuff. So we have plenty of ants to do what we need. Like I said, we have 3 smelters here that are producing plenty of iron, and we have almost full stockpile of iron scrap at any given time. We have plenty of screws, but one thing that we are lacking on is iron plates. So we'll need to, at some point, increase production of iron plates, but that isn't for this time. What are you doing there? Alright, so we need to figure that out. We need to fix this. Okay, I understand. Okay. So let's get rid of that, because that's not going to help us. But we'll keep this trail so that we have some way to send all of our elder ants there immediately. Okay, so I'm thinking that we need to focus on a couple of things here. First thing we need to do is jump into our tech tree and unlock plant cutting. After that, we will gather fiber and we'll hold on to, the null trail is nice. In fact, I think we'll get it because we need it for probably the next most important thing in the game. So let's grab that, and we'll focus on this idea here of reaching a population of 50 ants. Main trail costs 100. Old gate, I don't know which one we need, but let's focus on these 2 things. As you can see here, collect fiber. We just unlocked a new plant cutting trail. So we need this space here, and we don't really need these kind of flowers over in this area. We have plenty over here. So let's just go ahead and work on we'll work on getting these ants to, we got our 50 ants. Let's complete that before it goes away. Take a look here. Okay, so we want to collect 50 inventor points, I think they're called. Yeah, in order to unlock this old gate. That's going to be of the utmost importance for us going forward. And I'm going to begin collecting or stockpiling. Oops. I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't played this game so long. I'm going to begin collecting fiber, and we'll come back when we have enough to complete the instinct and the collect fiber rewards. Alright, looks like we're finished here with collecting fiber. So let's complete that. Then we'll need to unlock fiber. In fact, we'll be back when we complete fabric unlock so that we can begin the next step. Alright, we're back, and we're about to unlock something that is arguably one of the most important gates in the game, the carry gate. And simply it says a logic gate that lets ants enter based on what type of material they're carrying. And that gate can do quite a bit of heavy lifting as far as the different complex logic circuits that you essentially create in this game with your pheromone trails. And I know we really need the old gate, but I just want to give an update that we're a little over halfway through, and here's our setup. Our setup. We've We've been mining some fabric, gathering some mining fabric. We have been gathering some fiber here, and in the next portion of our main loop, we added a counter gate to this workshop setup that's producing fabric. We've got 13 working on 14. We've also begun piling up our inventory of iron plates. Very handy. A couple of things I wanted to touch on while we were waiting is that, you know, at the moment, in this portion of the game, we're at the point where we're doing a lot of things still manually. We have some automation, right? We've set up some gathering trails, and we have, you know, some different items being produced at different rates based on, you know, whatever need we have, etc., etc. But on top of that, you know, that's basically as complex as our logic can get. We can say, okay, we need this many ants in this area, but we can't specify which ants go there, or why, or when, or for how long, or anything like that. And that's where the other logic gates come in. And in the previous episode, I spoke a little bit about how we, you know, want to set up for as much automation as possible without having to touch anything, so we can focus on, you know, other projects. But at the same time, you know, we need to learn the basics, right? We need to be able to understand why we're doing this and what we're doing. So, you know, it takes time, I guess is what I'm saying, and that's totally acceptable. Let's drop this and move. Let's drop this and move. Alright. We're about 3 away now, and we're still trying to continue to get adventure points. We need, I believe it's 50. That's the next thing that we absolutely have to unlock. Period. I know that we can get these, well, they increase the price of iron floor tile, which is really actually beneficial because it's just at 10 points, it was so easy to unlock, and it kind of disrupted the flow as you ended up, you know, sterilizing the entire island that you're on. And at this point we have plenty of iron, so we're gonna, I keep pushing delete, we're gonna get rid of this and just let that die out for a moment. We'll also discontinue using any of these guys for collection here. We'll discontinue that collection. Let's drop that. Okay, let's drop that. Go. Drop and go. If you know where that's from, more power to you. You've earned it. So again, I'm talking about how, you know, we need to manually still do some of the more complex functions, right? But we're pretty close to unlocking the things that we need. So it isn't like it takes a very long time to get there, but, you know, at the same time, it can get a little tedious here in the beginning, but I think that's the point. You know, they want you, in any game like this, you want to work for what you achieve. You just don't want it to be too hard fought, I guess. You know, to strike a good balance as in all things. And one other thing that I didn't touch on was how we are using one of these sentinel ants in each of the core functions of our colony. One of the core functions, of course, is being to feed the queen. Next core function, of course, being able to birth the young. And another core function, gather plenty of energy, food for our queen, so that our colony never stops producing workers. It never stops growing. See how we have to keep an eye on things. Elder gates and our carry gates, which we'll talk about shortly, can be the keys to unlocking a more complex logistics. Okay, we are back, and we have just unlocked the old gate. And as you see there now, any ant that is elderly, which is in the last stages of their life, you know, the end moments of their lifespan, then they will automatically enter that setup. And we have changed things around a little bit here because we were experiencing a heavy logjam with the just sheer amount of ants, small workers we were creating, and we needed to get out of there really quick. But we haven't really unlocked anything else. I just wanted to share that brief update. And this is where we are next. I think even though as tempting as the assembler is, and to continue along the path of the instincts, I think we need to diverge here really quickly, because ultimately we need to get this floor tile, and we need lava storage. Because as you can see, we are rapidly expanding beyond the means of what we can, you know, handle in terms of, you know, the length of these pheromone trails. They're just, we need more space, right? That's one of the mechanics is the expansion, right? And we need to figure out how to expand properly. Well, that's crazy. But as you can see, it's getting out of hand quickly. So we'll be back. We're going to have this completely under wraps here very shortly. Okay, so we're back. We're a little bit further on. We haven't quite completed our Instinct 21 yet, and we have done something arguably more important. Not arguably, definitely more important. What we've done is we have streamlined our production lines. We've given ourselves the ability to so we're missing something here. There we go, okay. We've given ourselves the ability to focus less on what we're doing while we're producing items, focus more on expanding our colony. And it really does take these tiles to be able to set something up like this, because yeah, you can do it without it, but the precision of the little pips makes it so much simpler. You don't really have to waste your time, I guess. So this is going to be either exactly our setup or very close to our setup going forward. So we'll see kind of, you know, our colony evolve from a simple hive mind to something far greater. And this is nuts. Let's see if we can grab this. Here, do that. Okay. At least they'll be able to do something now while they just meander around this trail. And we'll have them do something else as the colony expands. But right now, we are focusing on one thing, and that is pumping out iron plates, because we need to expand our colony. The only way we're really going to do that is if we build these floor tiles and give ourselves the space and the structure to have a neat and tidy colony, and you know, get away from this sort of chaos here. Because we can definitely do this in a much smaller area and utilize everything else, but you know, we're not doing that right now. Alright, and I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to try and get the next section done in a little bit. Let's see if this works. So we're back a little bit later. It's actually a long bit later. But I wanted to showcase a couple of things here. Namely, I wanted to showcase this, you know, stabilized production loop here of iron plates. So in the previous iteration, we had just a simple cube or box where an ant would pick up an iron block, add it to the workshop, and then go around until it was ready. And once it had completed its actual work of making the iron plate, it would only then, and only then, take it to the stockpile. In this version, we have it set up so that each workshop is its own workstation. As you can see, this counter gate is holding two other counter gates nested within itself, right? And that means that, you know, for this entire trail, including these workstations, there can only be a specific amount of ants in there, which is exactly what we're looking for. But having this secondary counter gate inside the main counter gate of the main trail, that's, you know, essentially this production loop, we are able to then tell the ant that has entered this interior counter gate to work on certain things, and only certain things. So what does this do? When they enter this counter gate, they pick up an iron block. They drop the iron block off, and then they go back through this carry gate, which we just recently unlocked, and we have set it up to be a not carry gate. So essentially, if it walks through here and it makes it past this point without carrying anything, it will go back to the beginning of the counter trail, or the counter gate, and try and grab another iron block before exiting. Now, in this way, we've essentially told this ant that you can only leave this spot to head back to the main trail once you have completed the entire work chain process of, you know, whatever we're working on in the workshop. So this allows us to be more granular with our setup, and, you know, again, it really highlights the complexity of each of these, you know, logic gates and what we're capable of doing with you know, fewer ants, right? Because, oh, this is a big deal here. Okay. So again, we can get more granular with how we are gonna achieve, you know, creating our production cycles, but without using as many ants as, you know, we otherwise would, right? Because now we can say, okay, we only want a couple ants in here, and, you know, they're only going to work, you know, for a little bit, and then they're going to leave, and then they're going to go on to become new ants and do new things, right? Okay, so now so we're completing our instincts now. We were able to create this, sorry, we're able to create this. Take this out here. Go here. We're able to create this assembler, and now we're going to be using this assembler to unlock drones, which we haven't done yet. But we need to do that, and we need 25, and we need to go all over the place here. So we need to, yeah, we need all kinds of stuff. We need to continue to make these. We'll do it this way. There we go. Okay. Alright, and here's another thing that we can do with carry gates. So, let's say now, if you have something come through this carry gate, and head back to the beginning. That way we don't have to make these ants all walk, you know, an insane distance. We can just, you know, have them walk as far as they need to. And this will increase our throughput of the stockpile here. There's another thing that we can do eventually, and we'll get there, but it isn't time yet. Okay. Hopefully they don't continue to do that for too long, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm not worried. At least we have one ant doing what it needs to do. And if you look at it, we have segregated all of our ants, right? We have all of our larger ants not interacting with any of this production chains yet. We just have them sort of, you know, doing their own thing. And that's fine for now, but, you know, eventually we're going to have to fix that. And, you know, we want these to be, we want every ant to be able to do pretty much anything that it needs to do. Otherwise, you know, it's kind of pointless. Let's make sure that we always have a couple in here, huh? Okay. Oops. Even though it's going to lead to issues for now. And this might... This might help things a little bit. We'll see what happens. We're almost ready to get the next thing. Actually, we are ready to get the next thing. We really need all this. Let's start with drones, so that we can see what the next step of progress is. Along with drones, we've unlocked a couple of things. We've unlocked launch pads. And we've unlocked landing pads. So let's... We're really going to want to be like right around here area. Okay. Now, islands feature different biomes. Yeah, use a launch pad and a landing pad to fly a drone to the new island. Okay. Let's connect these here, and let's, you know, immediately begin collecting. Okay. Well, we are doing it, folks. This is something that we are looking for here. We're pumping out our adventure points as quickly as possible. We need to get this elder trail, but let's go for this trash can because larva storage is something that I really, really want. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's perfect. And right now, we're pretty much, again, we're wasting the lives of these regular worker ants, but you know, that's fine. We don't need to do anything with them essentially at the moment. Okay, because we're doing plenty, right? We're able to progress. The only thing that we aren't making is screws. But we don't need screws at the moment because the only thing that's going to use screws really in the coming moments is small digger ants. We're really going to use this time to unlock a bunch of things. Oh, looks like we need some iron. We're all out of iron, which is going to help. make problems for us. Let's see. Well, we can do that here. Let's do like 5 in here. Let's see if we can put... Okay. All right. Let's begin here with our instincts, and we have one more thing to do here, of course. Okay. So this one is basically we've hit the end of the beginning of the tutorial, right? We have achieved basically every bit that we need to be successful going forward as far as what the instincts are concerned, and getting onto this next island is our next challenge, which we are happily achieving, readily achieving, and that's going to be our next major goal, is to hit that island. We're going to need some more of these flowers, and I'm going to teach you here another little trick, and that is that every thing you see on this island that has spawned will respawn. So what does that mean? If you destroy these flowers, they'll respawn somewhere else on the island, and we can use that to concentrate sort of the spawn locations. And as we increase the size of our colony here, that's gonna really begin to limit sort of where these flowers can spawn. And it's gonna be good for us. And we need iron blocks, but we are getting iron rapidly by having this multi system set up here. And one thing that we can do to just make our lives a little bit simpler in the short term is that we can set up a little sort of like conveyor system, not in the sense of conveyor belts, okay, but in the sense that we can convey the these iron away from where they are, if that makes sense. Okay, now how are we going to do that? We're going to use a simple gate here, divider gate, to determine when, which one it's going to go to. We only need one ant in there, and then after it picks up, it's just going to go there and then come back. Go there and come back, and then go there and come back. No? Doesn't have anything, probably. Yeah. Okay, so now that will keep this stockpile full, and we'll need to get something going like that when it gets old. There we go. And all you aware watchers are gonna notice that there's a purple trail here, and we haven't touched on that yet, but we will shortly. but now's not the time. But as you can see, we have a colony that is very well taken care of itself, and we don't have any, you know, we don't have any worries at the moment. Let's do something like that really quickly, but we need to do this first. Do it on there. Okay. We can do this. There we go. Now we're manipulating trails, folks. There sure is a lot of iron here. We need some drillers straight away. Let's get them going as quickly as possible as well. We really want lava storage first. That didn't count. There we go. Okay, lava storage is going to allow us to do a few things. And one of them we see here. Incubate 5 larvae on the desert island. And we'll need to get to that ASAP, but again, there's still a bunch of stuff that we need to do first. And that's really just to fill out this little section here, and then we'll get going on the next part. But we want cast gate, and we really, really, really want stockpile gate. And then we want all this here. Okay. Alright, so we're back for a moment. We have expanded just a little bit. Nothing crazy, but as you can see, we have another one of these drone swarms. And this signifies essentially 1 hour of gameplay. And we're going to get a little bit of statistics here. We're going to see how well we've done, which, you know, realistically, excuse me, isn't very well, but we're working on it. And I think that at the end of the day, that's all that really matters at the beginning of the game like this. And, you know, we haven't gotten to any sort of point where we can, you know, diminish, let alone eliminate any of our worker ant deaths, even with us recycling as many as we do, you know. But let's see here. We're going to get the cast gate. And then stockpile gate, and that might be, you know, the signifier to do a base redesign. Might be that time, but we'll see. Oh, here we go. So again, you know, I think we're doing well. You know, we have lost quite a few small workers, but we repurposed more than we lost. Which is important. Same with the worker ants. The regular worker ants, we repurposed way more than we've lost. And the drones, we don't have any use for them at this moment. So we can allow them to die. And when we pop the inventor ants, that's considered a death. So they should all die. But pretty good. In all, we created 623 ants in this last hour of gameplay. We don't have 70. Oh, here we go. Let's try and get it quick. Nice. What have that unlocked? Oh, Floral Island. Alright, we can already get a bunch of new things, but that's getting way ahead of ourselves. We don't need to unlock any of that stuff just yet. Right now we're still trudging along, making as many of these iron plates as we possibly can. So before I forget, I wanted to address one thing. What we're experiencing in this colony right now is a lot of centralization. Everything is close by. We don't have far to move, etc. But, you know, we are going to be experiencing different islands. And in fact, when we look around, there's so much space on this beginning island, right? We don't need to cramp ourselves all the way in this one corner. Just to begin the game, though, we do need everything centralized, but only up to a point. And we are quickly unlocking things. As you can see, we've got the last, just a while ago, we got the larva storage. And we're moving on in the tech tree. One more thing we need to get is these small digger ants and the elder trail, of course. But I just wanted to address the fact that you don't want to get stuck or, convince yourself that there's only one way to do something in this game, right? Not all the ants need to be so close by to the queen. And again, with these 4 sentinel ants that you get to start the game out, you can sort of make it happen in that way. You don't need to, you don't need to worry about much, especially with these ants being, infinite lifespan. So, I'm going to continue working on this base, but let's see how it turns out in the end. This has been a little clue to what we're looking forward to. Anyway, we'll see you when we're done redesigning. Alright everybody, we're back. We've completed this colony transformation into something more technical than we had in the past. We're still, not fully on the grid, but we're making it happen as we go along. We have... well, let's start here. Let's start here with this queen and her hatching chamber. So what we're looking at is a 10-way spawning chamber where we can use all of the queen's larvae, not exclusively, where we have the queen. We can diversify her ability to produce the colony. And how we have taken advantage of that is that we have decentralized ourselves a little bit, given ourselves some space. And this guy needs to get out of here. We've given ourselves some space to produce, essentially a new super colony that's going to take over this whole island. And in this method of this setup here, we're able to do that in 10 different places. 9, and then where the queen is the 10th. And we need, some ants to, dedicated to her, see her needs taken care of, right? Because at this point, the 4 ants that we have, the sentinel ants, sentry ants, they are good to help us survive, but they aren't enough to help us thrive and give us the opportunity to grow our colony. So we need to dedicate our resources in a more efficient and effective way, and that's what we're doing with this particular setup. We're waiting for... it's going to take a minute because we are, filling up the barrels, as it were. Right? Once all the barrels are full, then, every ant's going to get pumped out here, basically. And until then, though, it's kind of misfire like a backfiring engine, but that's okay. We've decentralized, like I said, and in this location we have the majority of our production, as well as some collection of goods and resources. And we're gonna quickly change how our ants collect. It's so simple, isn't it? Let's do this a little bit so that we can get this in here. Like so. And we'll set this one up over here, because eventually we are going to need to utilize this area. But for the moment we only need these 3. And I think the last thing that we're going to do before we end this episode is we are going to begin colonizing this desert island. How are we going to do that? Well, we have plenty of iron on this island to do whatever we need. What we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that if they're carrying a larva, once they come off of this, they're just going to loop back around until they drop it off. And from here, we'll create a new colony. Colony loop. And we need to do some few things here, right? We have new resources to collect and process. But first, let's take a look at this special instinct here. It's an idea to incubate 5 larvae on the desert island. And once we get that going, that will help us to progress through the tech tree. And how are we going to do that, though? What does it take? Well, we need to grab one of these, and we're going to take... Let's look at this again. If the queen is 12 o'clock, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to take position 1, and we're going to set that up so that every time a drone is made, it is going to pick up a larva and take it over to that island. And then that island is going to be begin to colonize itself. Even though our max population is already set to 100, which is just insane to me. I don't even see 100 ants over here. Maybe it's because the larvae are considered 100, are considered an ant. We'll see. We'll see. So this ant's going to walk by the dispenser, going to pick up that larva, and it's going to fly. Okay, the drone has landed, and there it goes. Here's our first larva on the desert island. And what are we going to do here? We are going to begin producing our colony. And the first thing we really need to do is make some metal on here so that we can begin storing larvae on here and not just processing them immediately. So let's work on that. Let's take a look here at this setup, this smeltery setup, and let's discuss sort of, you know, different logistics we have going on here, because it is slightly different than what we had previously shown, in that we aren't using carry gates here at all. In fact, we're using timer gates, 0-second timer gates. Why are we doing that instead of using carry gates? Well, because in this instance, the smelter only takes one item, and we just need an open gate to allow the ant to exit once it's done doing its work. Essentially, all it has to do is pick up the item and get to work. And if you look at the trail here, everything is fully connected. You know, it's one complete trail. One thing that we could add is we could add here, and if we do this, then we can actually jumpstart the process of refining all this ore, because it's fast enough that we can, have, well, maybe let's just keep it at 4. Let's just keep it at 4 and see. But it should be fast enough that, once somebody's finished here, the next one is entering. But in the meantime, just know that there's multiple ways to set up your production lines. There's multiple ways to set up, your traditional colony loops. Just, you got to get creative and understand sort of what it's asking of you. So let's take a look at this idea here that we completed, and we'll go into the tech tree again. And we're looking for these counter end gates. Absolutely, this is going to help change things. But, as you can see, we have quickly gone from one island and basically cramped up on our queen to a more dispersed, decentralized idea of a colony, with the queen as sort of an engine driving the colony forward, right? We don't want to pigeonhole ourselves in the sense that, every ant needs to take care of the queen, because if we have that mindset, we aren't going to want to sacrifice or, allow ants to be away from the queen, if that makes sense. In a way, we're condemning ourselves to not being successful by keeping ourselves in mediocrity in the same area. But there's a lot left to do. In fact, we need to somehow increase our max population, which I think we're doing. I think we're able to do, but we need more power, more of these, right? But we're gonna get there, and that's not for this episode, however. We are gonna get there, and we are gonna be successful doing it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this episode. Maybe a bit of a longer one, but I think because we're only doing one a week, we kind of deserve it. And from now on, you know, with the ability to edit the episodes, we can kind of maybe go for the longer ones. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching. Till the next one, take care.